For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
As a consumer, you are set to experience more increases in the cost of certain items entering the island as China vows to fight to the end. Hello everyone. Welcome to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show, NewsSpin, on Power 97.9 FM. The broadcast is also on the NewsSpin Facebook page as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. During the course of the program, your calls at 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, and Amanda will be going through some of your comments in the chat room. And so we have a breaking story. I'm sure most of you would have known by now, but in an effort to give credence to what has been happening over the last few hours in that trade war between the United States and China, we have some information coming from the British Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC.
Well, we're just getting some breaking news here, actually. The Finance Ministry has just made an announcement that remember there were 34% tariffs on all US goods coming into China. That's now been increased to 84%. An 84% hit on all US goods coming into China. Obviously, that's a clear blow to every US company wanting to sell into this huge market. It no doubt is going to send more shockwaves through, I would imagine, the markets, especially in the US. But like I say, especially hurting any American company wanting to sell into this market.
So the trade war continues, and China is not giving up. China is proving to be a fierce rival, and definitely it is not succumbing to the bullying that is being spearheaded by the United States. And so China announces an 84% tariff, and that is on U.S. imports to take effect on Thursday. And that is after Trump imposed a 104% tariff on Chinese goods entering the United States. The Chinese tariff is an increase of it moved from 34% it already imposed on American imports. So it's inevitable. The fact that we are not producing a lot of the goods that we are consuming in St. Lucia, that cost will automatically be passed on to you, the consumers of the island, likewise the rest of the world. So clearly there are some adjustments that we have to make, and we need for there to be communication from our authorities on the island to move with haste, to move speedily. Because I think what is happening right now, as I've been saying over the last few days, is that there's a very lax approach by the authorities on the island. You don't like to hear that. The talk of a task force should not put me at ease, because things are definitely in a state of flux. We want to hear from the authorities as often as possible, because it is on that basis that people are going to be making some critical decisions. So in the meantime, if we're not hearing from certain individuals, then no doubt there are some private sector officials that we can call to get some feedback from them, because when this whole matter comes into effect and we start to experience on a daily basis those increases, rest assured it will be felt by you, the consumers in St. Lucia, because it is not something, a cost that certainly our importers would want to carry. We have on the line right now the president of the National Council on Public Transportation, Mr. Godfrey Ferdinand. Hello, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Timothy.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, yes. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us. This trade war that is happening between the United States and China, what impact do you expect it to have on your members, the minibus drivers and minibus operators on the island?
It will have an impact, obviously. However, we will sit with the relevant stakeholders to look at how we can cushion it a bit. So we are planning to meet with the Minister of Transport. We are planning to meet with our dealers to see how high that increase will be, if there will be, because it's passing to the United States. I'm not sure how the tariff will apply to us. So we just have to do a wait-and-see situation, although we have presently bus operators that have actually ordered vehicles. So with the person that we have ordered, we will look at the increase, or if there is any increase, I should say, because of that trade war, tariff war, I should say.
What kind of impact are you expecting?
It's always an impact of increase. And when that increase comes, it means that less operators will be able to purchase a vehicle, which means that the quality of the vehicles that we have will have to stay as it is presently. That's a challenge we are having right now. Because of the rate at which vehicles are brought onto island now, the change that we would like to see in terms of newer vehicles take a longer period of time. So before we would have maybe 50 vehicles in 3 months when persons do their order. Now it's less than that. We'll have maybe 5, maybe 7 minibuses being changed every 2 months. And we would like to see a faster changeover, because our fleet is definitely old in some of the routes. So we want the change. And some of the operators want the change, but the length of time to get the vehicle is the problem now.
How much does a typical 14-seater cost right now, if you purchase it from the dealers in St. Lucia, and I'm sure they'll be importing it from China?
The present cost is about $180,000, $189,000. If we were to get duty free on this, we would pay $149,000 for that vehicle. And if we were to get a used one, we would pay 60% of the duty on that. Normally, these used vehicles are $120,000, which would have the operator pay $100, maybe $110, $100 or $98,000. So that is a lot of money that you have to spend to get a newer vehicle, and that's not outside of the cost of insurance. For a new vehicle. Depending on who is purchasing it, the years of experience, some operators would spend $15,000, $10,000 for the insurance of that vehicle.
So if this feud continues, the trade war continues, definitely expecting a further increase in the cost of those vehicles when they land in St. Lucia.
Well, yes, we can expect that. We've always been doing things on partnership, with partnership, I should say, from a partnership perspective, where we work with the government works with us, we work with the insurance companies, we work with the dealers. So somewhere or somehow somebody has to cushion for us to be able to operate. So sometimes the dealers give us a discount. Sometimes, well, the government always seek to try to give us this duty free, because to purchase a vehicle at $180,000 and to pay that off after 7 years, collecting $5 a day, with a decrease in the market, with most persons having their private vehicle, is a very tedious task.
And you're hoping, sir, not to be in a position whereby you could pass on that cost to commuters?
Oh, Tim, that's something the public transport have been doing for a while, and instead of we getting praise for that, we get serious backlash. The people keep saying that we asking the government for duty free, we asking the government for rebates. Most of the times when we request these things is to prevent the cost from being passed on to the customers. However, with the way things are going lately, I don't think any rebate will help that particular situation. So the cost has to be passed on to somebody. And in all businesses, the cost is always put on the customers.
So let me ask you, sir, very likely commuters can expect an increase in bus fares during the course of this year if we continue on this trajectory?
We wouldn't know that unless we see the maps. If we see the maps, and I reckon that map will be available to us in the next month or so, when our partners and maybe some of the operators get their vehicle, we will see the map, and from that we can see let's seek for an increase, or maybe we can seek for further reduction in some of the taxes that we are paying. So, for example, if we get a zero VAT on an imported vehicle, that could help. We can also move into the direction of renewable energy, which would give us a zero on certain taxes. So there are a lot of discussions we can have, and fortunately for us, we are scheduled to have a meeting with the minister soon, and all these subject areas will be brought to the table.
You said soon. How soon? Within the next few days, few weeks?
Well, I reckon, I would assume in the next 2 weeks or so.
Next fortnight. What impact also you think the tariff will have on the purchasing of spare parts? Because you purchase because of the fact that those vehicles on the road very often, it's like, and traditionally you have to replace some of the parts quite often compared to replacing the vehicle itself.
Well, like I said, we'll wait and see what would be the impact on the parts, on the price of the parts, and the price of the vehicle, and then we can make a determination. How do we cushion it, or should we cushion it? Should we be in further discussion with the authorities or with other stakeholders to see how we do not pass it to the customer?
Long term, what are the long-term plans of the NCOPT, sir, to ensure that you are in a position to deal with those various changes, considering the volatile environment that we're existing right now? We don't know whether we'll have another shocker of a decision by President Trump or retaliation by China down the road. So long term, do you have any long-term plans to deal with the unpredictable nature of the economic environment we're existing in at this time?
Well, we always in discussion. The long-term goal would be for us to continue monitoring it and be prepared for it by being less reliant on some of these vehicles from the areas that attract tariffs. So, for example, if the Chinese or the Japanese doesn't apply tariff from us purchasing from them, then we would not have much of a problem if that vehicle or that product is not passing through the United States. So there are a lot of things, and everybody needs to come to the table, come up with the different plans, just like the OECS governments are looking at all these different changes that are taking place. It's constantly in the same position, looking at the different changes. We will meet with our other partners in the Caribbean because we have a regional public transport organization where we share ideas. So among ourselves, we will take that from there and we will see how we can best approach it and deal with it.
Final comments from you, sir?
Well, what I can say is all of us are in that waiting game, and we just need to put our heads together and see how we can best approach whatever is coming to us.
Thank you so much.
As a sector and as a country.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Mr. Godfrey Ferdinand, President of the National Council on Public Transportation. Mr. Andre de Keres, he is a bit of a soothsayer, has been speaking over several decades now and urging the St. Lucian public and the authorities to focus more on the agricultural sector and stressing the need for us to put priority on our food security. And he's doing just about the same thing at this point in time. And Mr. de Keres was at one time the leader of the Green Party, entered the political arena in 2011, but the Green Party is now defunct.
Agriculture first, food and water security. That was our slogan for the last election. We saw this coming since 2010, a time when food security would be paramount. Yet we focus on foreign direct investment, and primarily when we look at agriculture, we primarily look at bananas. It is time now, whichever government is in there, to put their resources into agriculture. They say agriculture first, but what is their plan? If we had come into government, one of our plans was before our term would be finished, we would have 100 acres under greenhouses, because we have climate change, we have severe and extreme weather events that would actually destroy vegetable crops, and as a result, we have to create climate change resilient agricultural infrastructure. For 15 years, I personally have been saying this, and now we have come to this crucial time. Everybody is scrambling to see what we could do and how we could feed ourselves.
A man who has great foresight, that's Mr. Andre de Keres, one-time leader of the Green Party. Now, we've been talking a whole lot about the St. Lucia government and its response or lack of response to this tariff war between the United States, basically, and the rest of the world, and what kind of response we should be expecting from the St. Lucia administration. And in terms of coming up with recommendations, there's been talk of a task force that has been set up, headed by the Commerce Minister, and it includes public and private sector officials. And they are on the verge of presenting, I think they have done that, presenting the recommendations to the Cabinet of Ministers, and the Cabinet of Ministers would be also be reviewing the recommendations with a view to determining which recommendations would be implemented. But ahead of all the discussions about the tariffs and our concerns, a lot of St. Lucians have been commenting about the 2.5% health and security levy, which is being described as a compounded tax the government of St. Lucia has decided to continue with that levy, which was supposed to end during the course of this year. It has been extended. I know that the Prime Minister and Minister with responsibility for finance will be making a statement on this during his presentation of the fiscal package for 2025 and 2026. On the political front, the deputy political leader of the United Workers' Party, Mr. Guy Joseph, has been asking which is worse. The taxes have been imposed on the people of St. Lucia by this administration versus that of the tariffs that have been imposed on the rest of the world by President Trump.
Should I be vexed against Trump for imposing a 10% levy? Should I have confidence in the task force which has been set up by cabinet, while the same members on this task force has imposed the following taxes on us? Fuel has an additional tax of 40% on it under the St. Lucia Labour Party. When Bradley Felix was Minister of Commerce, if fuel was $16.50, when it was $95 US a barrel, today fuel is $61 a barrel. The price is still $16.50, while in the British Virgin Islands, a gallon of fuel is less than $12 a gallon. So, ukaidi mwe Trump right pou me 10% tariff a lesset lisi, me Philip J. Pierre ha me 30% asu fuel. On bread, listen to me, on bread, Labour Party has put 100% on the price of bread in St. Lucia. So, kimun kimove, Donald Trump ebe Philip J. Pierre. Tansa, cooking gas is up by 20% because they cut back on the subsidy on a price of a tank of cooking gas. Then they introduce a fake 2.5% health and security levy. Bus fares have gone up by between 15 and 25%. 15% on the shorter routes. On the medium routes, 25%, and the longer routes in between ranges between 15 and 25%. And I challenge the Labour Party to come and say that what I am presenting there is not factual. So, who is against us? Is it Donald Trump or is it Philip J. Pierre? Passports have gone up. The price of passports have gone up.
You just heard there from the deputy political leader of the opposition United Workers' Party, Mr. Guy Joseph, addressing the Sunday live program of the UWP last Sunday. Let me hear from you right now at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026, and Amanda will be going through some of your comments in the chat room. And let me see if I have any of your comments to go through right now. And somebody is commenting, and that person says there, Tim, the trade war may not affect the sale of vehicles. These vehicles, they do not come from the United States. I don't think these countries get raw materials from the U.S. The U.S. is isolated. And let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Vehicles coming from Japan to St. Lucia should not attract any of Trump's tariff as goods in transshipment are not subject to U.S. import taxes unless there is a value-added operation done to the vehicle while on a temporary import into the United States. And some more of your comments. Somebody says that, Tim, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force had over 50 promotions last week. My question is, why has no police officer in the Police Welfare Association been promoted or considered for promotions? Is this victimization? These officers have been fighting for better working conditions for their members. Some of these officers are also well qualified with degrees and training, yet they are not considered or being considered. What is going on, Tim? You'll have to pose that question to the National Security Minister and the Crime Prevention Minister and also the head of the Police Welfare Association. And we have another WhatsApp message there. Somebody says there, Lisa made a comment on the talk show this morning. She mentioned the employment rate has dropped and she's taking credit for her party being the reason for this. Also, rejoicing that the country does not even have workers. But the last time I checked, everyone is in the call centers. The same call centers they criticized. She mentioned the youth economy and they encourage so many young people to do their own businesses. However, how many of them are still operating? I have never voted in my life. Don't think I will. But the SLP keeps putting division. They are avoiding all the problems going on in the country. Once you speak against them, they persecute you. Blame, blame, blame. Thank you so much for all your WhatsApp messages. Continue to send them. And, of course, continue to call at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. We have our first call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hello, good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon
Tim.
to you.
I just want to say, if you permit me, Tim, that Philip J. Pierre is not the right person to lead the country in those times, and Alan Shastner is. And I will tell you why. In 2015, Kenny Anthony came on JD's show and said that something happened. He couldn't borrow money anymore. 2016, Alan Shastner became prime minister. They say Alan Shastner was traveling a lot. He was doing this. Kenny Anthony spoke about the bonds. When Alan Shastner traveled, Alan Shastner went to reassure the people we are borrowing from that have confidence in our economy. And then Alan Shastner came up. We started borrowing. Alan Shastner came again. He expanded the ports of Point Seraphin to house mega ships. Philip J. Pierre came. He sold our ports for 40 years to a foreign investor. Alan Shastner said, "Look, let us expand our infrastructure to because we have the mega ships now. Let us expand our infrastructure to cause the road traffic to go down from by the Castries Comprehensive Secondary School to the Shock roundabout. He expanded the road into a 2-lane. If you pass through Union and those different places, they have expanded all those roads and all those different things. The other thing again, Tim, Alan Shastner said we're going to open the south to tourism with the horse racing track, expanding our airport. Philip J. Pierre said he never in history saw any place you can have a double, a 2-story airport. The airport has shut down. The next thing again, Philip J. Pierre borrowed $265 million to fix up the hospital. 4 years now, there's no hospital. The hospital Alan Shastner was going to fix up in Vieux-Fort was going to have an added service, which is a helicopter service. This service would have allowed thousands of St. Lucians' lives to be saved, because if you have an accident in Millet right now, Tim, and you now have to wait for ambulance to come from either Castries or Ancillary to go to Millet. It will take maybe 2 hours. You have a helicopter. It's taking less than 2 minutes for it to reach in Millet to pick up the patient and bring them to the hospital, right? We have a situation where the crime situation up to a day like today, we still have Vieux-Fort as a crime hot zone. We changed the laws for that. We did all those different things. In the time of COVID-19, Tim, under Alan Shastner's stewardship, there was across the world, people were admiring the way that this guy handled the COVID-19. As soon as Philip J. Pierre came into office, over 500 young men and women died from COVID-19. So my thing is, Tim, when you look at the stewardship And that's just in 2 years I'm talking about, you know. In 4 years, those guys have borrowed over $1 billion. In 2 years, Alan Shastney did all that. The Dyer Mall. Watch for years, the Dyer Mall was in a state of dilapidated. That was looking so disgusting in Bordeaux. Today we have a nice building down in Bordeaux. Philip J.P. came into the shock housing project. Richard Frederick came and said that, hey, there's a lot of illegal things happening at that project. He stopped it. 2 years later, he had to restart it and said he's going to eat his vomit. That is the next one. The Grosley Highway. Alan Shastney came and said, hey, since the economy is expanding, we need to house those. We have mega ships now at Point Seraphine. You know, we had a home port at Point Seraphine. I do not know if we have that anymore. We're going to build and we're going to expand the Grosley Highway because of the congestion and traffic. Philip J.P. came with Stevens and King. They stopped it. They said there was something illegal going on. 4 years later, no road hasn't been fixed. So my point is, Tim, when it comes to crisis, you have to look at where the good is and where the bad is. Shabbat, Tim. Shabbat was a good project. The Labour Party went all on the beach, closed down everything and said they give the people their beach, give the people their money. Today they're in bed with Shabbat. While we have Chinese now closing the beach.
You meant Cabot, Colin?
Cabot, my brother. Cabot, sorry. Today they're in bed with Cabot. They're playing golf with Cabot. They're drinking wine with Cabot. CIP. Today we have a situation where many scandals, many things is happening. All I know, billions of dollars is missing. So my point is, my brother, I give you the two comparisons of two leaders in our generation. Alan Shastney tenure for 2 years, because it's 2 years he had, then COVID-19 hit for 3 years. Philip J.P. for 4 years, and what did Philip J.P. did for these 4 years? And mind you, Philip J.P. has borrowed over $1 billion just in 4 years, you know. And how much Alan Shastney borrowed to do all what he is doing there. I thank you, my brother.
All right, so thank you so much. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Amanda, let's find out what's happening in the chat room. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, NewsSpinners. A NewsSpinner says here, we are hearing from the minibus drivers on the tariffs, but not the Prime Minister. Another comment reads, Emma headed a marijuana task force and nothing came out of it. And nothing came out of that, so do not expect anything to happen from this one. Another comment reads, you all think PJP and SLP care? They are busy campaigning, trying to protect the victory, and their supporters are following them everywhere for free bus rides and rum, a whole distraction. Another comment reads, your Prime Minister said take small steps, T-boutique style. Go back to horse and carriage days. Small steps, that's the advice given. Someone says, oh my God, an increase in bus fare will just cripple us. The minimum wage is not enough. A comment here reads, what you have to say, you are not saying it. Ask the government to lower the damn fuel prices. NewsSpinner says, our team, we do not order cars, buses, or parts from China. It's Japan, and they only have 24% tariffs. Another comment reads, I thought the Green Party's main concern was weed. I can't recall them saying much about agricultural overall.
I have to jump in there and vociferously defend Mr. Andrew De Carres. People have attached this label to him about him being, the individual who has spearheaded all discussions about decriminalizing or legalizing the use of marijuana. But in addition to this, he has also been speaking on the need for us to pay attention to our food security and to diversify the agricultural sector. If you go on YouTube, all you have to do is to log on and you will extract some of the clips, some of the contributions, and the various appearances he has made on a number of talk shows, including DBS's Newsmaker Live, to focus on this matter or this subject.
Continuing with some of the comments in the chat room, someone says here, I predicted that Trump won't last a full term, and if he thinks the entire world is not going to stand up to him, he has another thing coming. China will never back down. Canada is telling him what to do with his tariffs, and Europe will do the same. He is suffering from delusions from grandeur.
We have a call. Thank you so much, Amanda. A call via WhatsApp. This is NewsSpin. Good afternoon to you. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Timothy Poleon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yeah, and good afternoon to
Amanda.
Amanda. Okay.
Amanda.
Right,
good afternoon, caller.
Okay. Okay. Timothy, I watched the Willie going on last night in Soufrière. Willie spending how much thousands of dollars there for that Willie to go down in Soufrière. There are people in the ghetto because they don't have no middle class. Yeah? It's low class and high class. That's the two classes they have. The middle class, ça fini, abaliba. Now, Willie, children can go to school today, this morning, because the mother don't have no money, but they have money to give them last night to drink rum, to pay bus for them to go down the coast, just to go to Frere, to show that they have people. Now, I go let that case rest there for now. Now, Mr. Vanguard, so far, I give him like 75% working in the crime situation in St. Lucia, different little things I see going on, the roadblock, start searching, start going in the ghetto, the trouble spot. But they have to attack Marchand. Too many bullets bursting in the Marchand area there. Marchand there. Too many bullets, Baccarat, them places there. Too many bullets bursting there in afternoons. And not no small gun, you know. It's ratatata bursting there. So I would like Mr. Vanguard to send his special squad inside of their house, hit that place there, and then I will see what happening. I will see what I giving him if he coming up to 80 or if he goes still 75. But so far, he's doing a good job. So far, 75%, and give the police more money. So if they catch a bribe, they don't take the bribe. They go for the salary they get it. That's my contribution this afternoon.
Appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much for calling. Let's see if we have a call on the landline at 452-2979. Once again, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Allow me to see if I could access a WhatsApp message. Okay, let's take a call instead. Good afternoon to you. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, Tim. A couple of issues I wanted to raise in relation to the Prime Minister is saying to people that we need to do more with agriculture. You remember years ago when Moses Jean-Baptiste was the Minister of Agriculture in a budget presentation, he said that everybody should plant a kitchen garden or something. You recall that, Tim?
Yes, I can.
Did that ever happen? Did anybody... You see, here's the government's reaction. And I want the government to explain to the farmers of St. Lucia. Because, Tim, the constituency that I represented in Parliament when I was an MP was a constituency predominantly of farmers. Farm roads have been abandoned by the Labour Party for decades. So you look at the road network in St. Lucia. The Labour Party has not even maintained the main road network. You think it's farm roads for farmers that will be taken care of? You remember the FAR vehicles that was non-existent under previous Labour Party government. It was when UWP came back into office, we gave back the FAR vehicles to the farmers. The Labour Party has done nothing to boost agriculture in this country, Tim. They divided the banana industry, the mainstay of the agricultural sector. They had, when you had SLBG running everything, they came in, they put SLBC, then you had TQF, then you had the another company over there, and all of a sudden, everything died out. Now let me say something to St. Lucia, so that we have an appreciation. Banana was the cash crop for agriculture. So as a farmer myself, I knew you sold bananas every week or every fortnight, and you got paid. So if you sold this week, the following week you got paid. That helped to boost the other sectors of the agricultural sector. because whether it was citrus fruit, whether it was avocados, whether it was plantain, yams, dashing, all of these things were planted. But these things were not so much for the money part of it. It was because bananas was bringing in the money. So a farmer coming from the farm would easily give you a dashing or a hand of plantain or a yam or something. Tim, that's not happening anymore. Here's what has happened to us. Apart from the farm roads being abandoned, the inputs for agricultural products have gone up through the roof. What is the government doing to subsidize? When you tell me farmers could not get boxes to put their goods in to sell, then you have the issue most recently of oil for the banana. The same prime minister who said to St. Lucians, eat more bananas. Do you know, Tim, green bananas is more expensive today in St. Lucia than it is in the U.S. that does not produce any bananas? So when we have a department or a Ministry of Agriculture, you have a Minister of Agriculture. We, under the UWP, had introduced the 7-crop program. At least the government, if they didn't want to go with the 7 crops we chose, they could have gone with another set of crops. But nothing has happened. Further, while the Prime Minister is saying to people, do more in agriculture, the allocations in the budget for this financial year for the Ministry of Agriculture is down from what it was the previous year. Is the Prime Minister serious about agriculture? You know what somebody told me? They will have to go by the Prime Minister's house and see if he himself has planted a tomato plant in a bucket or something to see, while you're telling people to do it, are you doing it? Now, I'm saying this to make a point. Not that I expect the Prime Minister to go and plant anything. I'm saying this to make the point that the government is not leading by example. I met a group of farmers who have been trying to get the tractor to plow some land for them. The information that we have is this tractor has been done for almost a year for the sake of 2 tires. Now, I cannot verify that information, but the source of the information, can the Ministry of Agriculture explain to the people of St. Lucia why this tractor that is down for so long? Where is the help for our farmers? Tim, a dashing. You will buy a dashing for $10, $15, $20. A yam as high as $60. How many persons can you feed from a yam? If you buy a yam in the supermarket or somewhere for $40, how many family members can you feed from that yam? So while we're talking about the agricultural sector and eat more of what we grow, can we afford it in these? So think of a dashing for $10, Tim, and think of $10 rice. Which one will feed more people in a household? These are the realities, and these are the choices that mothers who are the primary shoppers in this country when it comes to groceries, these are the choices that they have to make. So if the tariff is going to impact the price that is already so heavily impacted by almost the monopoly we have in supermarkets in St. Lucia, I know that things are much higher than they can be. We've not seen anything in terms of price control and how that is working out. Tim, it's the average St. Lucian that is suffering. And the government coming out, or the Prime Minister coming out and tell us, well, small steps will not feed us, Tim. if that tariff, when it fully takes effect, because we saw what happened on the stock market, team, when they thought that there was going to be a postponement, it went back up, and then it should straight back down. Because all other countries, they are beginning to understand the impact. Now, I was talking about vehicles and about how it's going to impact the price of vehicles. People don't eat vehicles in this country, you know. The same way they don't eat roads, they don't eat vehicles. What we should be concerned about is the bread and butter issues for the children who cannot get their 3 square meals a day or 2 meals a day. What is the school feeding program like? What is the government doing? And I looked at the Ministry of Education allocations, and I didn't see anything much different and impressive in there. Team, we are in trouble. Parents cannot feed their children. And while the government is boasting about employment, there is a lot of underemployment in this country because people are not getting a decent salary to be able to make ends meet. So the government must stop telling us about task force and about this, because a task force can just be there as a deflection. I am very concerned that the tariff is going to impact, and that is why in what you highlighted, in what I said, the point I was making is that the Labour Party government under Philip J. Pierre has imposed a lot more taxes on St. Lucia than the impact of the Trump 10%. So I am calling on the government. You want to help St. Lucians? You want to put the people first? All the new taxes that you have introduced, remove them and let the 10% take effect, because your taxes as a government is higher than the 10%. But if the 10% comes up on that, then it becomes a compounded tax. It's a tax on all the new taxes that Philip J. Pierre has imposed on the people of St. Lucia. And that is the way to solve the problem. Remove all your taxes, let the 10% tariff take effect, and it is not going to have too much of a detrimental or worse impact than we already have. But if this 10% tariff is going to go on top of all the taxes that Pierre has imposed on the people of St. Lucia, then team, we are up to eating roads, because it's stones we will have to eat. We will not be able to buy rice and flour and sugar. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, sir. And I'm getting information there that today is your birthday, so happy birthday to you. I think
Thank
also
you very much, Tim.
former Minister Ezekiel Joseph is celebrating his birthday as well.
We've spoken this morning. Yes, thank you very much, Tim.
All right.
And to the listeners on NewsSpin.
All right, thank you so much. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. It is called NewsSpin. Still to come. Somebody is boasting half a loaf is better than none. Stay with us.
KFC has done it again. Introducing the Wow Box, the ultimate meal deal that'll have you saying wow. For just $23, you get one crispy, juicy KFC sandwich, one piece of finger-licking good chicken, a serving of hot golden fries, more flavor, more crunch, more wow, all in one box. Hurry to KFC and grab yours now. Dine in, drive through, or order online at kfcslu.com. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. payment plans are available for Tooms. Call us in Vidbouté at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Lucelec wishes to advise customers and the public that its customer service offices at the Carolec building in Sans Souci and VA4 are temporarily closed to facilitate urgent maintenance. The Lucelec Cantonment office in VA4 is now open on a limited basis, offering all services except payments. The Rodney Bay office remains open to serve customers. Customers who wish to make payments during this closure are encouraged to access the My Account service at myaccount.lucelec.com. SurePay's online and walk-in service options or participating financial institutions. Payments made via SurePay and My Account Direct on weekdays from 8 to 4 p.m. will be processed to customer accounts the same day. Payments made after 4 p.m. will be processed the next business day. For account balances, please dial the Automated Account Inquiry Service line at 457-4433. Customers can access other Lucelec services by using the virtual service desk at www.lucelec.com. The management of Lucelec deeply regrets any inconvenience caused by these closures and thanks its valued customers for their patience and understanding.
I've seen you here before, and I have something special just for you. What have we here? Happy housewarming to me? That's the MNC Home Depot Rewards Card. You'll earn points every time you shop, plus exclusive savings and promotions just for you. Just for me? Yes, just for you. Shop in store or online and enjoy a seamless experience. So I get to treat myself every time I shop? Exactly. It's time to reward yourself.
MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt Rewards Card. Sign up and reward yourself today at www.mnchomedepot.com.
Fast Pay, a new and easy way to pay. Fast Pay, Fast Pay.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay.
Flow Fast Pay, 2 minutes and you're on your way. Flow Fast Pay, Flow Fast Pay.
Flow is keeping you connected.
Stop. How much more pain can you take? Back pain, blinding headaches, numbness, weak knees, spinal injuries, stroke. You've tried everything. Nothing works. Enough. La Clinique du Corps has the experts and technology to diagnose and fix the problem permanently. Our specialist doctors use cutting-edge solutions to treat back pain, knee pain, sciatica, stroke recovery, spinal injuries, arthritis, heel pain, and more. With advanced pain management techniques, we provide fast, effective relief so you can live pain-free. La Clinique du Corps is an approved universal healthcare service provider in St. Lucia, accepting all approved insurance. Take back your life. Call La Clinique du Corps right now at 451-6559 to book your appointment. Pain stops here.
Essie, don't tell me that tire flat again. I just changed that tire.
Wait, what? You just changed that tire?
Well, I bought a used one because you didn't give me enough money.
Oh, I see. Well, you know what? Chivi's Tire Shop only carry brand new quality tires at affordable prices with free installation.
Hey, it seems you're working at Chivi's Tire Shop. How you know all that?
Come on, Brenda. The tire shop down the road from our home in the American Drywall Building.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Well, you know what, Patrick? Let's go there right now. Take your wallet. Let's go.
Chivi's Tire Shop, located at the American Drywall Building, Vidbouté. Call or WhatsApp 584-5986. Chivi's Tire Shop. Pay less, drive more.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
On Sunday, May 4th, it's a party under the pitons. Suffrage Jazz, the ultimate experience. MTX Band, Slide, Other Hour, Rebel 7, DYP, Former Nappy, Cohen Dubois, T-Vice, and headliner Busy Signal. Party with us, dine with us, stay with us for Suffrage Jazz, the ultimate experience. Tickets are only $150 EC. You can choose to elevate your experience at our VIP village for only $400 EC. The best value for money, the best vibes, and the most exquisite location. Tickets available from the Cell Outlets Island Wine, SRDF office in Sucre, and www.fourcirclestickets.com. Sunday, May 4th, Sucre Mini Stadium. Suffrage Jazz, the ultimate experience.
This is the most monitored talk show in the world. Some people, as much as they're critical of this broadcast, they just cannot stay away. One individual just a few weeks ago was making a plea to the St. Lucian public to boycott NewsSpin. This guy, Peter Alexander, is in the chat room right now. He's monitoring the program, he's watching, he's listening, he's paying attention, and he's saying to me, Tim, stop the scaremongering, thanks. How can you ask people to boycott a product, boycott a program, and you are very much part of it? You're saying, don't go and buy bread in that bakery down the road, but you, the first person to go there and to purchase the bakery. Peter Alexander, you just cannot help yourself regarding your obsession with NewsSpin. That's why it continues to be the most monitored talk show in the world. Let's continue with your calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let's see if we have a call on the landline at 452-2979. In the meantime, let me go through some of your comments in the chat room. Let's see if we can go through some of them. Please bear with me while we're trying to access those comments. But still, coming up, somebody says half a loaf is better than none. Half a loaf is better than none. Will be analyzing this. We have a call. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Timothy Poleon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes. I just wanted to question a few things that Mr. Guy Joseph said. He said that he talked about the 7 Crops program. I just wanted to know if he's aware that the 7 Crops program is still very much in effect. And two, he's stating that they're doing nothing for the farmers. Is he really aware of what is happening in the agricultural industry? Is he aware that of recently that farmers were actually given workers and the workers were paid by the government? Is he aware of all the help that farmers are getting? Only last week farmers got ground cover. I think Mr. Joseph really needs to get himself aware of what is happening in the agricultural sector right now. They promised that bananas would go to Martinique. Not one grain of banana went. I want also Mr. Joseph to tell us how many of the feeder roads to the farms that he or his government fixed. Did they just get backward bad over the last 4 years? I really want Mr. Joseph to be aware of what is happening in the agriculture industry. If he's not aware, just keep quiet. Thank you, brother.
All right, thank you so much. I suspect you're calling from the Ministry of Agriculture, sir. Thank you so much for your contribution. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. And let me see if I have a WhatsApp message to go through. Somebody says there, Boycott NewsSpin? Are you kidding? So how we go survive? Let's take a call from Canada via WhatsApp. Good afternoon, NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, team. How are you doing?
I'm okay, sir. How about you?
Good, Amanda. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, caller.
Team, I have to laugh when you mention that half a loaf because I've had so many talks with individuals about that statement. And I think it's time that we put that statement to rest. Because too many times these guys are fooling people with that nonsense. Whereas they would tell you, look at the glass half full instead of half empty. But Tim, wouldn't the glass be full before it get half?
Yeah.
It would have to be full first before it get down to half.
But more than that, do the politicians settle, those who are in government in particular, do they settle for half a loaf?
Well, that's where I'm coming, my brother.
You think the Prime Minister settles for half a loaf?
So here's the thing that St. Lucians need to understand, Tim. Tim, you own the St. Lucian public, own that bakery that is creating the bread. The bread belongs to the St. Lucians, which is the people, the citizenry. However, they give the politicians that have their loaf as well. They own one loaf of that from that bakery. However, they will take your loaf, cut it in half, and give you back half. While now they have 1.5 loaf. You see the problem? The people that need to understand these politicians do not settle they don't settle for the crumbs. So why should we settle for half? Why? The bread belongs to us. It doesn't belong to them. And until we understand that every single thing in this country belongs to we, the taxpayers, and also I have to say, Tim, because I realize something that a lot of people, they tend to take it for granted and say, "Buy gouvernement kila." So when they say buy gouvernement, that means they can do anything to it. People, we really need to take care of whatever is built for in the country because it belongs to us. We need to understand that whatever is built by any administration, not just whoever you support or vote for, these infrastructures, they belong to us. And we need to keep those things intact, take care of it, not go halfway. They give you to build a drain and it is recommended for 1 bag of cement, put half a bag of cement. You're robbing your own self when you do that. You're not robbing the government because you are the government. You're robbing yourself. So that out of the way, Tim. We need to really understand what these guys are doing. And we need to see who are the guys that are getting wealthy, Tim, in a short period of time. Because I am pretty sure if you were to, I'm not going to mention any company name, but if you were to be employed or part-time, I have a contract with a company for a 5-year period, I'm pretty sure with a base salary of $20,000 a month, at the end of your contract, I'm pretty sure, Tim, you wouldn't be living like most of these politicians are living today. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you be living in that light? Because some of them own so many land and properties now. Some of these guys have how many estates in just a short period of time. This is what we need to pay attention to and why we're voting. For those who keep saying that Shasne is the enemy of the state, let me say something to you. Would the enemy of the state try to elevate you from where you are? A dilapidated airport is trying to bring that to a standard like no other. I saw a hospital that is also dilapidated. He's also trying to bring you a standard that you've never had in St. Lucia. So if a man with whatever influence he have around the world, he's trying to elevate you to a different level, take you from whatever century you're living in today and bringing you into the 21st century. What is so hard about this to understand? These very things that he's trying to bring forth in the country, people are enjoying it already, Tim. the two-story that our prime minister never see airport. People are enjoying this every day. You understand? Maybe we don't, not because we don't have it, it doesn't exist. We need to understand that, yes, maybe you might think that it's costing you, the taxpayers, a lot of money. But Tim, these politicians today, the administration today, we're not seeing none of these things and they're still borrowing. St. Lucians, think about that for a minute. Thank you very much, Tim.
All right, thank you so much for calling all the way from Canada. And so, we continue to allow the politicians, particularly those who are in office, to mislead us into believing that they're doing us a favor. So when they, hand out some concession to us, when, for example, if we have to pay $200 for daycare, they reduce it to give us a $50 handout, we have to say to the government, thank you for that, and half a loaf is better than none. Ma'am, you are the one. I'll play the clip in just a moment. The young lady who said that half a loaf is better than none, you are the one who is paying this $50. You have paid for it already. And that is via, if you're not paying taxes directly, via the health and security levy. Those politicians, they are not doing you a favor. They are using the resources of the state. They are using our money, basically, to polish their image, to campaign, to make the handouts to you so that you, in turn, will vote for them come the next general election. Let's listen.
What I have to tell you is thank you for the $50 you take out on my son's school, preschool. So, we used to pay $200, but now we're paying $150. Now, one thing I always believe in, half a loaf is better than none. And Philip Jepier, what I have to tell you is thank you for the $50 you take out on my son's school, preschool. So, we used to pay $200, but now we're paying $150. Now, one thing I always believe in, half a loaf is better than none.
All it takes is $50 to win the support of some individuals in St. Lucia. So she will remain a lifelong supporter of the St. Lucia Labour Party for $50. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Let's see if we have some comments to go through in the chat room. Good afternoon to you, Amanda.
Good afternoon again, Tim. A few comments from earlier. Commentary reads, Tim, have you heard anything from the Chamber of Commerce? Why aren't they speaking out? Is it because they will just pass on any increase onto the consumers? That is us. Another comment, tax reprieve begins in your country. If you do not show mercy to your very own, how do you expect mercy from strangers? Another comment reads, I personally think people who refuse to vote should not complain if they have a problem with the government. The only way to get a solution is to replace the government, but you are not willing to make that change. Sit in a corner with what you have. Another comment reads, why the obsession with tariffs? Someone says there, plus this SLP government sold so many more passports than the previous government. Another comment reads, Caller, I want Vanguard to tell us St. Lucians about the latest cocaine bust. Someone says there, so what will become of our sovereign wealth fund under these new tariffs? Another comment reads, we still haven't heard any updates on the container of weed at Courts. Was it sold at higher purchase? Somebody says there, imagine Ezekiel Joseph was the last Minister of Agriculture. Please highlight his works before the SLP. A NewsSpinner says there, I'm purchasing bananas at 59 cents a pound in Canada from Mexico and far more from Jamaica. St. Lucia could have been on that list. Now the comment reads, half a loaf is better than none. This is all the educated SLPs can say to the public. They continue to say this because they know Philip Pierre has failed this country miserably.
We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to Amanda.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Tim, I listened to a
a statement or a comment made by the Prime Minister in some interview. I'm not sure what sort of interview it was, where he revealed that St. Lucia is one of among some countries that have been recognized by some travel agency or some authority has been one of the most sought after destinations in the world as a tourism destination, including Curacao, someplace in Australia, Singapore, etc. Tim, I was so bamboozled because I remember I just watched an interview with the Prime Minister, and I think the young lady's name is it Janica Simon or something of that nature?
Yeah.
Name. If I'm getting the name wrong, I apologize.
Yes, Janica Simon.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tim. Where he said that Alan Shastney, when he was Prime Minister, was the only leader in the world who believed that tourism was going to rebound. And obviously, he didn't have the vision to speak about tourism at that time, because he never saw that tourism would rebound to exceed or to surpass pre-COVID performances. Now that it has, he is boasting it. But Tim, we are navigating those storms, those economic storms in this tourism competitive world on a boat that was built by Alan Shastney and the UWP. And he fails to admit that. But Tim, I just wanted to put that in, but also, Tim, the government has continued collecting the airport departure tax from everybody who leaves St. Lucia via the airports. And in that same interview with Janica Simon, the Prime Minister used the example of the Uenora redevelopment project to say that that project was too big and that it needed to be downsized because tourism would never rebound to pre-COVID-19 levels. What's happening with this money, Tim? Over the past 3 years and 8 or 9 months that this government has been in office, it would be interesting, in fact, not just interesting, I would like to know, how much has the government collected in airport departure tax? What has it done, if anything, with that money? Because those monies were earmarked towards a loan for the redevelopment of the airport. The government has since ended or stopped the project at the Uenora Airport, and has also, I think it has no longer any commitment to that loan. So where is that money? How much is it? And if it is being used, what has it been used for? Because it's if there were over 300,000 stayover visitors last year at $60 odd US dollars a head, when we multiply that by the 3 years that this government has been in power, Tim, that's lots of millions of dollars that the government has not yet accounted to the people of St. Lucia. So we need to know, where are those monies, Tim? That's my comment for today.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Via WhatsApp, somebody says that, wow, Tim, $50 can fool a Lucian. And another WhatsApp message, somebody says that $50 off $200 is not half a loaf. Actually, it's a quarter of a loaf. We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you see, them kind of people, as in half a loaf is better than none. Them people that have the country the way it is there today. Because at the end of the day, all them people doing things to get favors from the ministers and them. You know, they want to work to achieve things. They want to consider, well, they want the country to be better by the ministers and them doing things for the country. They want the ministers and them to do things for them. And then they're thinking, well, it's something they gain, and that making them have the country down and a whole long because of no progress. You check it? You understand what I'm showing you, Tim?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
There
Some people have the country backward. Just the last time I was in a place in the ghetto, not in the ghetto, but in the CDC area, so on. I ain't a man telling a man, boy, SLP, have you getting big? You know? SLP, have you getting big? You know? As though when you're on the UWP, you're not getting big. Because probably the way the ministers and them giving them money and taking care of them, they're eating, you know? But under UWP, it will not be them kind of way there because probably it's the country UWP checking for. You understand what I don't know?
Yeah.
And not just for people to just give them money and make them feel good in themselves. What about the generation to come again? The children that have to come. Huh? So you have to put things in progress in progress for the youths that come in. So when the youths come in the life, the youths and them could see St. Lucia a better place than what was ever been before, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The hospital, the new hospital, that was a great thing. And them man leaving that behind just to go and interfere something that burned for how much years ago. They was in power, they never fix it up. Kenyans, they never fix it up. UWP come in power, yeah, they did not fix it up because it was not necessary. But they're blaming UWP for not fixing it up. And consider UWP are not doing no work. But what UWP was doing was better than what the man doing now. You know? Was better than what the man doing now. The man just running the country down in a kind of way and have the country non-progressive, man, you know? Anyway, thank you, Tim.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for your call. Let's take another call via WhatsApp. Hello, good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller. You're on the air. Yes, sir. You're on the air.
Yeah, I just want to make a few comments with reference to the economy and the tariffs and what to expect in the near future and in the long term. I think that I believe in being part of the solution.
Yeah.
And based on that, I just want to mention a few things that we as St. Lucians, as Caribbean people, should look into, things that we have control over. Sometimes, we try to do things that we have no control over, but we have control over our economy. And we don't have control directly over the national economy or the global economy and what politicians do in St. Lucia, in the Caribbean, in China, and in the United States and Canada. But we can take care of our own economy, and I call that my economy. And I think the first thing is we need to take responsibility for ourselves and our situation, and don't depend wholly and solely on politicians. Basically, politicians are not there to take care of us. They are there to take care of the country, and if by chance they facilitate certain things that we benefit from. But I think we have to take personal responsibility for our economy, and that means living below our means. Sometimes you go around, you see people are spending money that they don't even have, and then when things get really tough, then we begin to shout and to cry and to make excuses. But we have control over our spending. We have control over what we spend and what we don't spend. We also have control over what we save. And there's a saying that you save before you spend, and you don't spend before you save. And also the choices that we make, we have control over the choices that we make as far as our money is concerned, as far as our economy is concerned. And we need to begin to take responsibility for the choices.
But caller, do you think we can do that in every instance? Because take for example the high price of petrol at the pump, $16.50, almost for an eternity. All right, while the price of petrol on the world market has gone down. You're talking about the high food prices. If we're going to nourish ourselves, if we're going to ensure that we remain healthy, and we have to purchase certain items that are very costly, do you think we can avoid those things?
Oh, of course, there are certain things that we cannot avoid. We have to buy food. We have to eat. We have to take transportation.
Mhm.
We have to send our children to school. But what I'm saying is, Tim, we have to also look deep down inside us and see how we spend our money, how much we consume. There is so much, consumption going on that people, for example, I see people at a certain chicken outlet, and they spend $50 for a meal, and that $50 could be used to give you 3 meals, basically, for the day. And sometimes some people do that every day, Tim.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of things I'm talking about, what you have control over. And I understand that there are only 2 kinds of people. And they are those who spend first and then save what's left. And the other one is those who save first and then spend what's left. And a wise man says that the people in the first group will spend their entire lives working for the people in the second group. And that is very, very profound a statement, And if I have time, I would like to contribute a little more in that direction, Tim, to your program, if I can get the line. But I just wanted to leave that with you, and then I would like to contribute some more in the near future. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Appreciate the contribution. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. It is called NewsSpin. Still to come, more of your comments, more of the discussions in the chat room so that Amanda can go through those contributions and continue to focus on half a loaf is better than none.
Lucelec wishes to advise customers and the public that its customer service offices at the Carolec building in Sans Souci and Vieux-Fort are temporarily closed to facilitate urgent maintenance. The Lucelec Cantonment office in Vieux-Fort is now open on a limited basis, offering all services except payments. The Rodney Bay office remains open to serve customers. Customers who wish to make payments during this closure are encouraged to access the My Account service at myaccount.lucelec.com. Pays online and walk-in service options or participating financial institutions. Payments made via SurePay and My Account Direct on weekdays from 8 to 4 p.m. will be processed to customer accounts the same day. Payments made after 4 p.m. will be processed the next business day. For account balances, please dial the automated account inquiry service line at 457-4433. Customers can access other Lucelec services by using the virtual service desk at www.lucelec.com. The management of Lucelec deeply regrets any inconvenience caused by these closures and thanks its valued customers for their patience and understanding.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Here's a fun fact. In just 29 seconds, you can say goodbye to paper bills forever. Seriously, in 29 seconds. That's less time than this ad. Head over to discoverflow.co or visit us in-store and update your contact information now. By October 1st, your bills will be digital, easy to access, secure, and hassle-free. So what are you waiting for? This ad still has 2 seconds left, and you could have already gone paperless.
St. Lucia, KFC has the crunch with our all-new strips and dip. 3 crispy, golden brown chicken strips, hot fries, a buttery biscuit, a refreshing 16-ounce Coca-Cola, all for $25. Hurry to KFC and dive into the dip life today.
Dip, dip, and dip. Your chicken strips in no dip, 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 and dip. Barbecue buffalo dip, ranch, honey mustard dip. KFC got all dips.
Order now at kfcslu.com or WhatsApp 484-0400. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Stop. How much more pain can you take? Back pain, blinding headaches, numbness, weak knees, spinal injuries, stroke. You've tried everything. Nothing works. Enough. La Clinique du Corps has the experts and technology to diagnose and fix the problem permanently. Our specialist doctors use cutting-edge solutions to treat back pain, knee pain, sciatica, stroke recovery, spinal injuries, arthritis, heel pain, and more. With advanced pain management techniques, we provide fast, effective relief so you can live pain-free. La Clinique du Corps is an approved universal healthcare service provider in St. Lucia, accepting all approved insurance. Take back your life. Call La Clinique du Corps right now at 451-6559 to book your appointment. Pain stops here.
Need more days of savings? MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt Super Saturday of Savings has just been extended to Sunday. Take advantage of amazing deals. This weekend, MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt are offering you amazing discounts on selected items. MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt Super Saturday of Savings has been extended to Sunday. Don't miss out on the incredible discounts and deals. See in-store, Facebook, or www.mnchomedepot.com for more details. Terms and conditions may apply. Better value for better.
Taco Thursdays at Senior Snapper from Thursday, 13th February 2025 and every Thursday.
St. Lucia, your Thursdays just got a whole lot better. After work, there's only one place to be. Taco Thursdays at Senor Snapper Seafood Grill and Margarita Bar.
In Grizzly Town, that is Marie Therese Street.
Live DJ, fresh tacos, and island vibes. What more do you need? Tacos for just $10 plus 2-for-1 margaritas and mojitos to keep the good times flowing.
Thursdays is Taco Thursdays at Senor Snapper.
On Easter Sunday, when the sun rises in the west, so will the vibes. Rise 5 in Citrus. Rise 5 in Citrus. April 20th, Soufre Mini Stadium. From 3 p.m. featuring Imran Nerdy, Arthur, Shemi J, DYP, plus St. Lucia's biggest DJs. Plus Soca Sensation, Hyper Sounds. Hyper Sounds. Voice of the one, Hyper Sound. Tickets are $120, available at all sell outlets, Mambo's Bar in Soufre, and online at fourcircletickets.com. More at the door. Platinum sponsor, Court St. Lucia. Gold sponsors, Bank of St. Lucia, Hotel Chocolat, Hennessy, Bounty Rum, JP Chenet, and KFC. Bronze sponsor, Heineken, Power 97.9 FM. Media sponsor, Liberty Media. Rise 5 in Citrus. On Easter Sunday, we rise.
Also sponsored by Blue Waters and Angostura Chill.
You take out on my son's school, preschool. So we used to pay $200, but now we're paying $150. Now one thing I always believe in, half a loaf is better than none.
And so our NewsSpin question of the day reads, an SLB supporter says that half a loaf is better than none. What say you? Some other comments. Somebody says there, these SLP house slaves accepting half of a loaf that spoiled. Another comment, a United Workers Party supporter, as a United Workers Party supporter, and acknowledging an unpopular opinion, I concur that a partial solution is preferable to none. We must consistently demonstrate empathy and understanding of our current reality. Financial disparities exist, and we cannot claim to be responsible citizens by judging others without knowledge of their circumstances or refusing to acknowledge the plight of those in need. Another person, Rick Wayne, says, the soft bigotry of low expectations is in our DNA. Another comment, Tim, half a loaf is not better than none. When our present government is living their lives lavishly and we poor people are suffering day in and day out, this is not right. St. Lucia is not a real place. Only a low IQ person would accept this statement made by a supporter of the SLP. The other person says, Shaz gave millions to the FFF. PJP is giving all the people of St. Lucia something from the pie, and you guys have a problem with that. Another one says, I want the whole loaf, not half. More comments. Unfortunately, the Malay party will definitely have Malay standards. Sad. Still waiting on that day to see ghetto people plant food in their backyards to eat. Boy, I can tell you, this would require some top-notch groundbreaking technology. PJP is not fit for purpose. Simple. Tim, I just got up and have not said my prayers yet. Why are you doing this to me? Another comment. I hate that saying. The whole loaf is yours to get. You're entitled to it. Why settle for half? Another comment. Sometimes when better cannot be done, it is my opinion that half a loaf is better than none. If we happen to be in that position, then it is likely for the old adage, half a loaf will be much more appreciated. And we have some more comments, but I'll go through a final one. So that's what the people are worth. Half a loaf. People, it's time we take a stand. Let's find out what's happening in the chat room. Over to you, Amanda.
A few comments from earlier. Someone says here, Mr. Guy Joseph made a lot of incorrect statements about the assistance being offered to farmers currently. Another comment, who is winning hypocrites of the day team? Someone says here, every time I come home, I am so embarrassed by the airport. First impression is so important and the airport says we are so poor. Another comment reads, anything for the cameras, then in their private moments they will weep like a lamb heading for the slaughter. A NewsSpin says here, breaking news, the St. Jude's reconstruction site is shut down. Reno has not been paid. The Saudi is delaying payments.
Okay, we want to get confirmation from the authorities, and if we have somebody from the Ministry of Health who's listening or from the Office of the Prime Minister, they can call to clarify. Likewise, if any of the representatives of the contractor are listening, they can call as well.
Another comment reads, so sad. Why do our people want to know progress for themselves? Someone says their team news just coming into hand. Trump has announced a 90-day tariff pause while stocks surge. Another comment reads, we have biometric passports now, and 4 years later, no biometric readers at the airport to scan those passports. What was the point of introducing them, or was that just to support CIP? A NewsSpin says, their team, do you have an update on the Point Seraphine Hotel? I understand work has stopped. Can you engage the Ministry of Tourism for an update on behalf of our people? Another comment reads, caller, you are on point. She got $50 off preschool fees, but she's not realizing how much 2.5% she has to pay on other goods and services. Those people are small-minded and never want better for themselves. Another comment reads, I predict... Okay, I read that already. Back to you, Tim.
All right, thank you so much. You just made reference to a breaking story via a contribution that you read there. So go into the CNN website. Trump hits 90-day pause on most new tariffs. Markets skyrocket. And maybe before we conclude, we'll go through that piece. But we have Rick Wynn on the line via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. You are on the air. Rick Wynn.
Tim.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
You know, I don't... our people, I don't want to say it's only our people, but I'm going to be concerned with our people. Hello?
Yes, sir. You're there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those sayings that have been around for hundreds of years. For example, if you lie down with dogs, you get up with fleas.
Mm-hmm.
You have to interpret that. You know? So if I were to say to someone, for example, if you lie down with dogs, you get up with fleas, that person can turn around and say to me, in English, so what are you saying, I'm a dog? Or that the other person I'm referring to is a dog? Or they can say it in Creole, machine. Well, in fact, what it simply means is, pick your friends carefully. Stay away from bad company. Tell me your friends and I know who you are, is a mix of that. You with me?
Yes.
But those of us who have the ability, who have the opportunity, and have the right audience, benefit a lot from those sayings that sound like truisms and wisdom, when in fact they are so disgusting if you were to place them under analysis. Last night I had the pleasure of talking to one of your fans, who it's a long time you've invited him on your show, called Bert DJ. And for the most part, we discussed NewsSpin, the value of NewsSpin, and the shortcomings of NewsSpin, because things come up that really require, serious discussion, and we have to get rid of it because of the format and everything in 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So those are the things we talked about. And today, the line is, half a loaf is better than none. And you have a woman who does not look like a millionaire to me, but she's jumping up there, half a loaf is better than none. And I'm thinking, but so is a breadcrumb better than none, no?
Yes.
Good. Can you imagine the government turning around to a restless public service demanding increases and telling them, be grateful in the nicest way. Get one of their most seductive PRs to do it. In fact, get what's her name? The lady who brought this thing back on the front page again. Lisa, whatever her name is.
Javaye?
Is it Lisa who said who also said Bahapalo? No.
No. No.
But anyway, I mean, the government can get one of its most seductive people to go tell the union, what is all this noise about? You're earning so much, your people, and half a loaf is better than none. What do you think would happen there? You tell the police half a loaf is better than none.
The union would say...
Your boss tells you half a loaf is better than none.
The union would say, you're not serious. I mean, get serious. Go back and come back with something more substantial.
I am being very serious. I'm connecting it to you.
Yeah.
I am telling you how we
No, not you. Not you, Rick. Not you. I'm saying the union will say to the PR people, go back to wherever you came from with that. And come back and be serious.
A few F words in English and
of course.
Okay, but you have a government on a platform that is supposed to be aspirational, a government that's supposed to lift you out of the mud, and it seems to be endorsing a half a loaf is better than none philosophy. I mean, that is so. You have to be crazy. You have to be apathetic. You have to be uninspired, etc., to even think a half a loaf is better than none. We are all supposed to reach for the stars. And this call you had a while ago was very disturbing to me. Because here was a gentleman who was basically talking on a subject totally removed from what has brought this on, the matter of half a loaf. And he was telling us how to conduct our personal lives. And we don't want people to tell us how to conduct our personal lives, Tim. We have a government in place that is accountable to us, and we have that government elected because we are all aspirational. We want to get out of the mud of poverty, the mud of neglect and deprivation, and give us the opportunity. Give us the opportunity to earn a decent wage. A step program wage is I remember Kenyan, he talked to me about that some time ago, years ago. When you really think about it, a step program wage is an incentive to commit crime. Because what he was telling me was how disappointed he was to discover a lot of the guys who were then getting the step program wages were investing it in drugs. They would take the money and go and buy some drugs for sale and then make 4 times or more than what they were getting as the step program wage.
Because what you're getting from the step program is wholly insignificant. It can be the needs.
Precisely.
It can be the financial needs.
But it is useful enough for the guy who is thinking and is forced to think in a particular direction, and that's what Kenny Anthony thought. I suppose Kenny Anthony has learned a lot since then, but Kenny Anthony was really disturbed to discover that a lot of the people who were getting the STEP program wages, rather than satisfied with half a loaf is better than none, he didn't say that, I'm putting it, better than none. He was surprised that they were taking that money and investing it in drugs where they could make 5 times more out of that $400, Tim. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we have to be careful about these proposals we push. If we go along with the half a loaf is better than none, then we don't need a minimum wage, because let's be grateful that your boss is giving you $2 a day. Half a loaf is better than none. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Rick, somebody also said, it just sent me a WhatsApp message. The Prime Minister once said $5 can block a hole. So I guess $50 can block 10 holes.
You see, we make jokes about this and take them lightly. But that kind of education, for want of a better word, brainwashing is a better word. People, Tim, I knew guys in the British Army. They joined the army at whatever age, 18 or something like that. They would spend maybe 10 years in there. They would go out and they would come back. And a lot of those guys spend their whole lives in the army. You know why, Jim? Because everything was done for them. They didn't have to think of anything at all. They had no people to push them to succeed. St. Lucians are far more at home with getting by than with being successful, Tim.
Yeah.
But that has its problems, because a country cannot be populated by apathetic people. Apathetic people don't want to learn skills. Apathetic people will sit in the Stone Age when we're now in artificial intelligence. People who are not inspired will go for bombs and put them in parliament. People who are not aspirational will get crooks, known crooks in the society, and tell you maybe they've transformed. They want to find excuses for everything that's disgusting. And so we end up having a country. Right now, I agree that, but it's not only now, the idea of planting gardens and that should be a norm situation. We've talked about that a lot. We've never had any kind of inspiration, like somehow the government finds a way of giving people seeds and encouraging. Our government is there to encourage us to uplift ourselves by whatever means. How can you talk to people when there are unresolved allegations that people have become multi-millionaires off the STEP program, of the CIP program? I'm not saying that's a fact. It's an allegation that the government refuses to resolve. Why has the government not assured the people, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, those that love them, and by the way, I say the government, I'm talking about all governments who have been involved with the CIP. Okay? Why is the CIP its problems not discussed publicly? The matter of due diligence, for example, that's a joke. Because if you have a crooked government, a government that is there to get rich, I would not trust the people they pick for due diligence, Tim. Because they're the ones doing it. No?
Yeah.
You can put thieves to guard a bank if you're a crooked bank manager. We don't have nearly enough transparency. All the institutions that we put up to guard, to save us from being against ourselves, from being crooks, etc., none of them is working. Your police force is far, 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 far more inadequate. If you're going to give God a pat on the back for some recent achievements in the police, you should be thinking, I wonder what would happen if we had 200 more guards on the force, no?
Yeah.
If one guard can cause that to happen, why can't we see how important it is to have people of guard level, I'm using this, etc., to invest in this first and foremost, that the protectors of our lives and property must be frontline workers in the country, properly paid, compensated, given every incentive to protect the lives of the great majority of people in the country. Instead, we paint the police as corrupt. And I say we, I'm talking about officials doing that publicly, painting the police as corrupt, giving instructions to police that are carried out the following day. That kills the public trust in the police, even if the person on TV doing it is merely bragging. Who knows he's merely bragging, especially when the following day the instructions seem to have been followed. We had a raid in one of the ghetto. What's it recently? What was it?
Wilson's Yard, yes.
How many of the people who got into trouble there, who were arrested, how many of them were named on TV as criminals and everything else? How many of them? I don't know. Maybe a couple of them. Maybe. If the police are operating at the instructions of a particular minister or whatever, then the suspicion arises if the police arrest one of those names mentioned. The regular normal thing would be to believe somebody in office is behind it, somebody directed it, somebody ordered it, somebody is more interested in one gang than the other. These are reasonable deductions based on the crap that people talk because they can do it. They can do it without anybody saying this is wrong. It's not only wrong, it's problematic. It is going to cause people not to trust the police even less than we already do. We don't think of those things, and instead we talk nonsense about half a loaf. So a corrupt police force is better than no police force at all. A corrupt minister of government is better than, well, no minister to talk to. And so it goes and so it goes. We really are our own worst enemies, and we must spend some time driving these things home because the other side have been talking the foolishness, the misinterpreters have been talking that foolishness a long time. That's why people so easily say, half a better than none. $5 can block a hole. On all this kind of foolish, which are insults from a government you put in office to raise you from the mud, not keep you in the mud or drag you down in the mud. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Well, that's the broadcast. Thank you so much for participating and listening and watching another edition of the world's most monitored talk show, NewsSpin. Join me this evening, 7 o'clock, for the DBS News World, and again at 8:30 for News Make Alive. Continue to enjoy your Wednesday. My name is Timothy Poleon. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow afternoon, same time at 12:30. Goodbye.